is the news on STEM Radio Vision, Elisha. First, the headlines. Tinubu insists on January 1 for new tax regime. 10 state plan 4.3 trillion naira borrowing to fund 2026 budget. APC knocks Norge over resumption directives, alert security. Nigeria defeats 10-man Uganda 3-1 to top Group C. Israel to bar 37 aid groups from Gaza. Now the news in full. I am Chidima Abel. President Bola Tinubu has insisted that the new tax laws will take effect on January 1, 2026 as planned. This was disclosed in a statement that he personally signed on Tuesday and issued by the State House. This came as former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and the People's Democratic Party slammed the president, describing the move as hasty and insensitive amid ongoing controversies surrounding the alleged alterations to the legislation. Recalled that Tinubu on June 26, 2025, signed the 4 tax reform bills into law. These include the Nigeria Tax Act, the Nigeria Tax Administration Act, the Nigeria Revenue Service Act, and the Joint Revenue Board Act. The act comprehensively overhauled the Nigeria tax landscape to drive economic growth, increase revenue generation, improve the business environment, and enhance effective tax administration across the different levels of government. While some of the laws have gone into effect, others are set to go into effect on January 1. 10 states are planning to source about 4.128 trillion naira from loans, bonds, grants, capital receipts, and public-private partnerships to finance capital projects in their 2026 budget. Collectively, the states including Lagos, Abia, Ogun, Enugu, Osun, Delta, Sokoto, Edo, Bayelsa, and Gombe presented budget totaling 14.174 trillion naira to lawmakers. An analysis of this budget shows that these states are increasingly turning to non-recurring financing beyond statutory federal transfers, including allocations from the Federation Accounts Allocation Committee, valued added tax receipts, and internally generated revenue to support ambitious infrastructure and development projects. Economists say Nigeria's growing reliance on borrowing is not mainly because the country lacks revenue, but because public funds are poorly managed. They argue that budgets, which should strictly guide government spending, are often ignored, while weak oversight and revenue leakages force government to rely on loans. Although borrowing can help fund development when used carefully, frequent and unchecked borrowing risks creating long-term debt problems and passing today's failures on to future generations. Osun State chapter of the All Progressive Congress, APC, has condemned the striking Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees, NOGE, led by Dr. Kehinde Nathaniel Ogungbangbe, for allegedly engaging in partisan politics and acting as an extension of Governor Demola Adeleke's administration. Dr. Ogungbangbe had recently announced a directive for local government staff to resume work on January 5, following a 10-month strike. The APC's Director of Media and Information, Kola Olabisi, in a response yesterday, accused NOGE's leadership of overstepping its authority, claiming it is beyond their remit to dictate terms regarding council executives. The APC questioned NOGE's perceived role in interpreting court judgments, calling it a grossly partisan approach that undermines the union's integrity. They expressed concern over NOGE being perceived as a tool for the governor and his associates, particularly regarding the resolution of their prolonged absence from their workplaces.
Music Studio.
The Super Eagles of Nigeria secured a 3-1 victory over Uganda in their final Group C match at the Africa Cup of Nations AFCON 2025, finishing the group stage with a perfect 9 points and sending the East African side home. Rafael Onyedika scored twice, while Paul Onuachu netted his first international goal in 4 years to guide the Super Eagles to their third win in 3 games. Uganda reduced to 10 in the second half, flowing goalkeeper Salim Magula's red card struggled to respond until substitute Rogas Kasemato pulled one back in the 75th minute. Nigeria's first breakthrough came in the 28th minute when Onuachu poked home Fishayo Dele Bashiru's cross after an incisive move, putting the Super Eagles 1-0 up at half-time. Onyedika doubled the lead in the 62nd minute, slotting the ball through the goalkeeper's legs, following a precise pass from Samuel Chukwueze. 5 minutes later, he scored again to make it 3-0 after Chukwueze's cutback set him up for a clinical finish. Uganda's lone goal arrived in the 75th minute as a substitute. Mato cleverly chipped the ball over Nigeria goalkeeper Francis Uzohor after being set up by Joseph Okello. The goal, however, was not enough to avert elimination, with Tanzania's 1-1 draw against Tunisia confirming Uganda's exit. And now on the foreign scene, Israel is set to revoke the licenses of 37 aid groups working in Gaza and the occupied West Bank, saying they failed to meet requirements under new registration rules. Well-known international non-governmental organizations such as Action Aid, the International Rescue Committee, and the Norwegian Refugee Council are among those that will have their licenses suspended on 1 January, with the operations to end within 60 days. Israel said the groups, among other things, had failed to hand over complete personal details of their staff. The move was heavily criticized by foreign ministers from 10 countries, including the UK, who said the new rules were restrictive and unacceptable.
Studio.
And now to end the news, here is a recap of our stories. We told you that President Bola Tinubu has insisted that the new tax laws will take effect on January 1, 2026, as planned. We also told you that 10 states are planning to source about 4.1 trillion naira from loans, bonds, grants, capital receipts, and public-private partnerships to finance capital projects in the 2026 budget. Osun State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, APC, has condemned the striking Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees, NOGE, led by Dr. Kehinde Nathaniel Ogungbangbe, for allegedly engaging in partisan politics and acting as an extension of Governor Ademola Adeleke's administration. The Super Eagles of Nigeria secured a 3-1 victory over Uganda in their final Group C match at the Africa Cup of Nations AFCON 2025.
Snow Music Studio.
And lastly, we told you that Israel is to revoke the licenses of 37 aid groups working in Gaza and the